It all started on a regular Tuesday morning at Jefferson Middle School. The bell had just rung for gym class, and kids were already lining up near the basketball court. Some were laughing, some were stretching, and a few were showing off their brand new sneakers like they were on a fashion runway. And then there was Malik. He walked in quietly, head down, wearing a pair of old, beat-up shoes that had clearly seen better days. The soles were worn out, the color had faded, and one of the laces was knotted in a strange way, like it had snapped too many times. It didn't even match the rest of his outfit. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He just wanted to play. But of course, someone noticed. "Yo, look at those shoes," a kid said, loud enough for a few others to turn. It was Tyler, one of the louder kids in school, always trying to get laughs. "Are those your dads from high school?" A couple of kids chuckled. Malik heard it, but he didn't look back. He just kept walking toward the court, hands in his pockets, quiet like always. He was new here, had only been at the school for about 2 weeks. Didn't talk much, mostly kept to himself, and definitely didn't hang out with the popular crowd. Nobody knew where he came from or anything about him, just that he was the quiet kid with the old shoes. The class lined up. Coach Thomas came out of the office holding a basketball. "All right, let's get some teams going. 5-on-5, half court." Kids started calling out their friends. "I got Marcus. I'll take Devin." Names flew around like it was a draft. Malik stood there waiting. No one picked him. Not yet. It got down to the last two, Malik and another short kid who barely liked sports. Coach finally assigned them to teams. Malik was added to the group with Tyler, the same kid who made fun of him. Tyler groaned. "Oh, for real? We already lost." Malik said nothing. He just tied his shoes tighter and walked onto the court. As they warmed up, Tyler kept whispering jokes to his friends. "Watch him trip on those ancient sneakers," he laughed. "Hope he doesn't break an ankle." Malik ignored it all. He walked over to the sideline, picked up a ball, and started taking a few slow dribbles. Bounce, bounce, bounce. His eyes scanned the court like he was thinking through every move before the game even began. Coach blew the whistle. Game on. Malik took his position near the top of the key. He didn't smile. He didn't talk. But something about the way he moved, calm, focused, almost like he was used to being watched, made one of the kids pause for just a second. Nobody knew what was coming next, but they were about to find out. The game started fast. Tyler grabbed the ball first and tried to show off with a flashy move, spinning around one defender and tossing the ball toward the hoop. It missed, badly. Malik jogged back on defense, not saying a word. He wasn't rushing. He wasn't trying to prove anything. He just played calm, like he already knew what to do. After a few plays, Tyler was already getting annoyed. "Yo, pass the ball," he shouted at a teammate who had taken a wild shot. The other team was scoring quick. Malik's team was already down 6-0, and Coach Thomas stood on the side with his arms crossed, watching closely. Finally, the ball rolled toward Malik. Someone had tried to pass to Tyler, but it bounced off his hands and landed right in front of Malik's feet. He picked it up, and that's when things started to change. Malik dribbled once, then twice. He moved like he'd done this 1,000 times. He crossed the ball over, ducked past a defender, and floated a clean shot toward the hoop. Swish. No backboard, no bounce. Just perfect. The court got quiet for a second. "Lucky," Tyler muttered. But then Malik did it again, and again. He wasn't just scoring. He was reading the game. He passed when someone was open, stole the ball when no one expected it, and made moves that had the others blinking in confusion. "Yo, where'd he learn that?" Someone asked under their breath. Tyler was still trying to take control of the game, but now his teammates were looking at Malik. They started passing to him, listening when he called for the ball. And Malik, he still didn't say much. He just kept playing. The beat-up shoes didn't slow him down one bit. In fact, they made everything he did more surprising. Coach Thomas called a quick timeout. "What's your name again?" he asked. "Malik," he said softly. Coach nodded. "You play club ball somewhere?" Malik shrugged. "Nah, just with my dad." That was all he said. The game continued, and Malik was on fire. He dropped a clean three-pointer from way beyond the line. then a smooth assist, then another steal. He wasn't flashy, just sharp, focused, smart. The other kids weren't laughing now. Even Tyler was starting to pass the ball without arguing. And when Malik nailed the final shot that ended the game, half the gym stood frozen. Coach Thomas clapped his hands. That's game. Malik walked off the court, grabbing a towel and sitting down like it was just any other Tuesday. No one talked for a second. Then someone said, "Yo, those old shoes can play." A few kids laughed, not the mean kind this time. It was different now. They didn't know who Malik was, but they were starting to wonder. The next day at school, things were different. It wasn't like everyone suddenly wanted to be Malik's best friend. But there was a shift. Some kids who hadn't even looked at him before were now nodding as he walked by. The whispers weren't about his old shoes anymore. "Yo, Malik, nice game yesterday," one of the guys from the gym said, giving him a thumbs up. Malik just nodded, offering a small smile. He wasn't really used to attention, and he definitely didn't want to talk about his shoes. But the comments kept coming. "You play ball like you've been in the league," another kid said. Malik wasn't sure what to make of it. He wasn't looking for praise. He just liked to play, and he wasn't trying to impress anyone. But the sudden recognition was a bit new to him. During lunch, Malik sat at the same table as always, the quiet corner near the window. But this time, there were a few curious looks from kids who usually didn't notice him. They didn't say anything, though. Instead, they just stared, maybe trying to figure out who he really was. But then, things took an unexpected turn. After the final bell rang that afternoon, Malik was walking out of the school when a black SUV pulled up to the curb. The engine hummed, and the tinted windows rolled down. A few heads turned as the door opened. And then out stepped LeBron James. It wasn't just any random guy. It was him, the basketball legend himself, LeBron James. For a second, the whole parking lot went silent. Students dropped their phones and stared, eyes wide. Malik didn't react at first. He was used to his dad's surprises. But the moment he stepped toward the car, it was like the entire school had frozen. LeBron looked around, gave a small wave, and then called out, "Malik, you ready to head out?" The kids standing nearby started whispering in shock, pointing at Malik. "Wait, that's his dad?" one kid said. Tyler, who had made fun of Malik's shoes just the day before, was standing at the front of the crowd. His jaw dropped. "Hold up, that's LeBron James?" Malik just walked over to the car like it was no big deal. LeBron smiled and threw him a bag from the backseat. "Got you some new kicks, son. Let's go." Malik didn't smile, but he thanked his dad and grabbed the new shoes. He didn't need to say much. Everyone was already staring, still processing what was happening. As Malik slid into the back seat, a few of the kids took a few shaky steps toward him. Tyler hesitated for a moment before asking, "Yo, Malik, you could have told us. Why didn't you say your dad was LeBron?" Malik shrugged. "Didn't seem like it mattered. I'm just here to play." The car drove off, and the crowd slowly started to disperse. Everyone was still buzzing, talking about the surprise. But one thing was clear. Malik was no longer just the kid with the old shoes. The next day at school, Malik could feel the difference. Kids who barely noticed him before were now looking at him like he was some kind of celebrity. Whispers filled the halls. "Yo, Malik's dad is LeBron." "No way, I didn't know that." The same kids who had laughed at him for his shoes were now acting like they'd been his friends all along. Tyler, who had spent most of the day before mocking Malik's old sneakers, came up to him at lunch with a big smile. "Yo, Malik, man, I didn't know." "That's crazy," Tyler said, trying to act cool about it. "Your dad is like the LeBron James." Malik just nodded, feeling awkward. He didn't like the attention. He never did. He wasn't there to be a spotlight, just a regular kid who liked playing ball. But now everyone was talking about him. They kept asking questions about his dad, his life, how cool it was to have a famous father. But Malik wasn't interested in that. "It's just basketball," he said, shrugging. "He's just my dad." The more he tried to downplay it, the more the kids around him seemed to hang on to every word. Some tried to get him to talk about the NBA, but Malik didn't have much to say about it. He liked playing, But he wasn't obsessed with the fame. Soon, though, something even bigger happened. Coach Thomas, who had been quietly watching Malik since the gym game, came up to him after school. "Hey, Malik," he said, pulling him aside. "I saw you yesterday. You got some serious skills, kid. You ever thought about joining a club team?" Malik frowned. "Nah, I'm good," he said. "Just play for fun." Coach Thomas raised an eyebrow. "Really? With that kind of talent? You could be a star. You know that, right?" Malik looked down at his shoes, even though they were new now. Thanks to his dad's surprise gift, he still wore the old pair most of the time. He didn't need the latest, flashiest gear. He was here for the game. That's what mattered. The rest of the day went by in a blur. Kids kept looking at him, trying to talk to him, but he stayed quiet. At the end of the school day, he picked up his bag and headed for the parking lot. Just as he was walking out, he noticed a few kids following him. "Hey, Malik, can we get a picture with you?" One of them asked shyly. He stopped in his tracks. He wasn't used to being asked for pictures. It felt strange, like he was supposed to be someone else. "Nah," he said, shaking his head. "I'm just me, man. I'm just playing basketball." They looked disappointed, but Malik didn't mind. He didn't care about being a star. He didn't care about the attention. He just wanted to keep playing the game he loved. As he walked to the car where his dad was waiting, he felt a little lighter. He didn't need to explain himself to anyone. He was just Malik, and that was enough. The next few days felt like a blur for Malik. It wasn't just the kids at school who were paying attention to him now. Word had spread fast about who his dad was, and even some of the teachers seemed to look at him a little differently. They smiled a little more, said hello a little more often, and gave him more space in the halls. But Malik didn't like it. It felt weird. He just wanted to be a normal kid, not the center of some big story. He didn't need everyone's attention. He didn't need people to treat him differently because of his dad. One afternoon after school, Malik was walking to the gym for practice when he heard someone calling his name. It was Tyler, of course. "Yo, Malik, hold up!" Tyler shouted as he jogged up to him, out of breath. Malik slowed down, turning around. "What's up?" "So I was thinking," Tyler started, glancing around to make sure no one was listening. "How would you like to have a team of real players next time? Like, we could play together, me and you. You could totally carry the game for us." Malik didn't respond right away. He wasn't sure what Tyler was getting at. "What do you mean?" "I mean, look, everyone knows you can ball," Tyler said, his tone dropping to a more serious one. "We could start a team. I bet we'd crush everyone." Malik frowned. "I'm good," he said quickly, looking away. "I just play for fun." "Nah, man. Think about it," Tyler pushed, clearly trying to convince him. "You're good enough to go pro, and your dad, he's a legend, right? You could be famous too. Imagine how awesome that would be." The idea made Malik uncomfortable. It wasn't about fame or anything. It was just about playing the game he loved. Sure, his dad was LeBron James, but that didn't mean he had to follow in those footsteps. He didn't want to feel like he was carrying around some big weight because of it. "Thanks, but I'm good," Malik repeated, giving Tyler a polite nod. "I'll just stick with what I'm doing." Tyler looked a little disappointed but didn't press him any further. "All right, man. Your call." Malik walked off toward the gym, feeling a little lighter. Maybe it was his own way of standing up for what he wanted. Maybe he wasn't ready to have his whole life planned out by other people. When he got to the gym, Coach Thomas was already there, bouncing a ball and waiting for him. "You ready?" he asked. "Yeah," Malik said, smiling a little. "Let's do it." As they got started with practice, Malik felt at ease. This was what he enjoyed. No one asking about his dad. No one talking about his shoes. Just him and the game. As he made his first move, slipping past a defender and sinking a smooth shot, he realized it didn't matter where he came from or who his father was. What mattered was how much he loved playing ball. And that was enough for him. It was a Friday afternoon when the unexpected happened. Malik was getting ready for practice, tying his shoes and putting on his jacket when he noticed something strange outside. A sleek black SUV had pulled up in front of the school. At first, he thought it was just another car, maybe a parent picking up their kid. But then he saw the person step out. It was LeBron James. The whole parking lot went silent. A few kids who had been walking toward the door stopped in their tracks and stared. Malik had seen his dad like this before, no big deal to him. But today, it was different. His dad wasn't just here to pick him up after school, he was here with purpose. Malik felt a strange twist in his stomach. He didn't want the attention that came with his dad. He just wanted to finish his practice and go home, like everyone else. But the crowd around LeBron was growing. Kids started pulling out their phones, taking pictures, and whispering about it. "Yo, is that LeBron?" A voice called out from across the lot. Malik didn't want to be part of it. He just wanted to avoid the spotlight. But it was too late. His dad was walking toward the entrance of the school, smiling and waving to the kids. Malik took a deep breath and started walking toward the door. As he reached the parking lot, a few kids ran up to him. "Hey, Malik, is your dad here to see you?" one asked. Malik nodded. "Yeah, he's here to pick me up." They stared at him for a second, unsure of what to say next. It was like they didn't know how to act now that they knew who his dad really was. But before they could ask more questions, LeBron caught sight of Malik. "Yo, Malik, let's go, man," LeBron called out, his voice loud and clear across the lot. "You ready to head out?" The crowd parted as LeBron walked toward his son, giving him a quick pat on the back. Some of the kids who had been standing around started walking over, hoping for a selfie or just a chance to talk to the man who had made history in the NBA. But LeBron just smiled and waved, like it was all normal. "We'll be in the car," LeBron said to Malik, already starting to walk back to the sub. Malik didn't say much. He just followed his dad to the car, trying to ignore the stares. Once they were inside and the door closed behind them, Malik let out a breath he didn't realize he was holding. "You all right?" LeBron asked, turning to look at his son. "Yeah," Malik said, staring out the window. "It's just a lot." LeBron nodded, understanding. "I know, son, but you don't have to let it change who you are. Just keep doing what you love." Malik didn't answer right away, but he appreciated the words. He knew his dad was right. It was easy to get caught up in the attention. But for Malik, the game was what mattered most. Everything else was just noise. The next week, things got even weirder for Malik. It wasn't just the kids at school anymore. The news was starting to talk about him too. He hadn't expected that. He didn't want it, but it was happening. One afternoon, Malik was sitting at lunch when his phone buzzed. It was a notification from a sports app. The headline caught his eye. LeBron James' son shows off impressive basketball skills at middle school game. He didn't know what to think about it. The article talked about how Malik had made some insane moves during gym class, how he was already showing signs of being a future star. There were even a few pictures of him, playing basketball, walking with his dad in the parking lot, just normal moments. "Yo, Malik, did you see this?" Tyler asked from across the table. He was holding up his own phone, showing Malik the same article. Malik just shrugged. "It's just an article." "Nah, man, it's big," Tyler said, leaning in closer. "People are talking about you all over the place. You're like a big deal now." "It's not a big deal," Malik said, shaking his head. "It's just basketball." But Tyler wouldn't let it go. "Seriously, though, you could be huge. Like, everyone's talking about you. And your dad is LeBron." Malik felt a knot tighten in his stomach. It was one thing to hear a few kids talking, but now the whole school seemed to be obsessed with him. Everywhere he went, people looked at him differently. The teachers, the kids, even the lunch staff. It was like they were all waiting for him to do something amazing. After school, Coach Thomas pulled him aside again. "Hey, Malik, I've been thinking," he said, rubbing his hands together. "I know you're not trying to make a big deal out of all this, but people are starting to notice. You got the skills. Real skills. I've been talking to a couple of club coaches. They're interested in you." Malik's heart skipped a beat. "Club coaches," he repeated, frowning. "Yeah," Coach Thomas said, looking excited. "They want you to join a competitive team. It could be the next step for you. You could be playing with kids your age who are serious about the game. It could be big." Malik felt his palms get sweaty. He didn't want any of that. He didn't want to be pushed into something because of who his dad was. He just wanted to play basketball like he always had. Thanks, but I'm good, Malik said, his voice firm. I'm not looking for all that. I just want to play for fun. Coach Thomas looked surprised, but he nodded. I get it, Malik. But just remember, when the opportunity's there, you've got to think about it. You've got the talent. Don't waste it. The next day, things got even more intense. The school announced they were holding a special event, a charity basketball game, and guess who they wanted on the team? Malik, we want you to play, the principal said when she pulled him out of class. We'd love to have you represent the school. Malik felt the weight of the offer. Everyone was looking at him. But all he could think was, it's just basketball. The charity basketball game was finally here. Malik hadn't planned to be a part of it, but when the school principal personally asked him, he couldn't say no. Everyone was buzzing with excitement. His name was everywhere now. It wasn't just the kids at school. The event had attracted attention from local news stations, and there was even a camera crew waiting outside the gym. When Malik walked into the gym that day, he felt like the weight of the world was on his shoulders. The stands were packed, the energy was electric, and everywhere he looked, kids were pointing, whispering, and looking at him like he was some kind of superhero. He didn't like it. Yo, Malik, Tyler called out, grinning as he passed by. This is your moment, man. Go out there and show him what you got. Malik nodded, but his heart wasn't in it. All he wanted was to play and get it over with. He didn't want to be the center of attention anymore. All he wanted was a ball in the quiet of the court. When the game started, everything was different. The other team was just as serious, but they were a little too focused on Malik. They watched every move he made, trying to figure out how to stop him, how to challenge him. And even though Malik was used to playing hard, he didn't like feeling like everyone was waiting for him to mess up. The game was intense, but Malik stayed calm. He made a few good passes, scored some smooth shots, and even got a couple of steals. But he wasn't playing for anyone but himself. He didn't care about being the hero. He just cared about the game. As the final buzzer rang, his team had won. The crowd erupted in cheers, but Malik just stood there, catching his breath. He didn't want to celebrate. He didn't want to be the focus. He just wanted to leave the court and be himself again. After the game, Coach Thomas came up to him, clapping him on the back. You played great out there, Malik, he said, his voice full of pride. Thanks, Malik said, forcing a smile. But inside, he felt relieved it was finally over. As he walked out of the gym, he was met with a group of kids who had been waiting by the doors. They wanted pictures, autographs, anything they could get. But Malik didn't want to be a star. He didn't want to be treated like he was someone he wasn't. Hey, Malik, Tyler said, catching up to him. That was awesome. You could really go places, man. You and your dad, you're like untouchable. Malik stopped walking and turned to look at Tyler. I don't need to be untouchable, he said quietly. I just need to play the game. Tyler looked at him for a moment, then nodded slowly. Yeah, I get it. You're good, Malik. Just keep doing your thing. Malik smiled, feeling the weight lift off his shoulders a little. He didn't have to prove anything. He didn't need to be famous or special or anything but himself. He was just a kid who loved basketball, and that was enough for him. As he walked out of the gym with his dad waiting for him in the car, Malik realized something. It didn't matter who his dad was. It didn't matter how many people were watching. All that mattered was the game. And as long as he kept playing, he was exactly where he needed to be.